Sportsman 500 HO with a new high-output engine and 20% more power. The world's best-selling automatic ATV just got better.
For years, Ronnie Strickland, or Cuz as he's known to turkey hunters, has heard the remark, "You ought to write a book." The truth about spring turkey hunting is the result of those many remarks and countless humorous tales that have taken place around Cuz in the spring woods. With chapters covering topics like superstitions, snakes, lack of sleep, and calling too much and too loud, this book will bring a smile to anyone who enjoys turkey hunting. Along with the humor factor, Cuz covers some hard-earned how-to on locating, setting up, calling, and scouting. A unique mix of grins and grassroots that will entertain even the veteran turkey hunter. To order your copy of The Truth About Spring Turkey Hunting, call 188 Mossy Oak.
Nothing like the sound when the day breaks. Me and Daddy in the woods on a Saturday. You see, his granddaddy hunted these hills, and I hope someday that my kids will. He said, do me a favor before I'm gone, love this land and pass it on. Pass it on.
Of all the successful wildlife restoration stories in this country, the comeback of the wild turkey may be the shining star in this arena. From the brink of extinction, the wild turkey is now a common sight in most of the United States and parts of Canada and Mexico. This turnaround has been the result of thousands of people focused on one goal: protecting and sustaining this nation's most spectacular game bird. The National Wild Turkey Federation has been paramount in this effort and is working harder than ever for the wild turkey. When the NWTF was founded in 1973, there were only 1.3 million turkeys throughout the United States. Since then, that number has more than tripled and now stands at 4.8 million birds thanks to the NWTF, its members, partners, and the state wildlife agencies. With that growth has come impressive strides in wild turkey restoration and habitat enhancement as the NWTF has forged dynamic partnerships across the country. Together, the NWTF's conservation partners and grassroots members have raised and spent more than $90 million on projects benefiting wild turkeys throughout the United States, Mexico, and Canada. As rich as these triumphs have been in raising funds to enhance wild turkey populations, there is still much work to do. With a growing force of member volunteers and dedicated partners, there is no limit to what can be accomplished. Mossy Oak is proud to be a long-standing partner with the NWTF, and we look forward to growing our relationship in the future. To find out how you can join the fun and help America's #1 game bird, call 1-800-THE-NWTF. Like gold, turkeys are where you find them. If they're deep under cover, working thickets and moving slowly, the smallest opening may be all the opening you need. A good idea of where the gobbler's headed, a good working knowledge of the land, and a good, well-hidden setup can put you in the game with even the most reluctant of birds.
I hope they come right up this old logging road. Yeah, they're right there.
more than a game of chance. Finding success in the turkey woods is a matter of intense effort and skill. Every trip out becomes a series of decisions built one upon another. Deciding where and how to locate. Deciding whether and when to call and what calls to make. Deciding when to move on a bird and when to wait him out. Every move, every action adds to the excitement and builds on the memories. Even the sharpest of hunters comes away smarter but empty-handed most of the time, because packed inside the turkey's brain are facts and knowledge about every nuance and element of the woods, the gobbler's home. Memories of every roosting tree, every dusting bowl, the feeding places, the dangerous places, all work in the bird's favor. Hunters must use all of their past experience and all of their ability to become just another hen in the woods. Sounding like the right hen in the right spot then becomes the name of the game. A game that's played between the ears as much as between the trees. A game that's logical and psychological and exciting beyond compare. Studying the woods, watching game, and building experience all add to a hunter's ability to outthink his opponent and lessen the likelihood that he'll outthink himself instead. In the end, making decisions is what turkey hunting is all about. Hearing a big tom gobble is the real reason most turkey hunters love their sport. The gobble is what spring turkey hunting is all about. The interaction between the turkey and the hunter puts the excitement in the game. We love gobbling and lots of it. It builds our confidence when we can make one gobble, and it lets us know what's going on when we can hear where he is. It's when the gobbling stops that the mind games set in. Patience plays a part in every turkey hunt, but when the gobbling stops, that's when you have to decide just how patient you need to be. When the gobbling stops, the questions begin. Is he with hens? Did I spook him? Did something else spook him? Has he been hunted too much? Is there a boss gobbler he's trying to avoid? And most importantly, is he headed this way? And if so, when will he get here? If while you're pondering these questions, a different turkey gobbles a half-mile away, the internal debate begins to get heated. Stay, go. Stay a while, or go right now. The best favor you can do for yourself, and for your patients, however unlimited, is to set up properly right off the bat. It's important that when you set up to call, you do so in a way that does not restrict your vision in the direction from which you expect him to approach. If he's gobbling and coming in, you can adjust. But if he's coming in silent, it's a different story. If he's coming in silent, it puts extra pressure on you, and you can rarely determine whether he'll be silent or not before you sit down. If you can set up so that you have an open look, but with thick cover right behind you, your setup is ideal. Camouflaged and still, you'll blend into the cover behind you until the bird is well within range. Likewise, if you can set up so that there's a blowdown or thick patch of cover between you and the turkey, but 40 to 50 yards out in front of your setup, you're in good shape as well. When he comes around the cover, he'll be both open and in range. Certainly, there are times in the turkey woods when more calling is better, but calling has to be tempered when the gobblers are being cautious. Clucks, purrs, and scratching in the leaves can make a pressured gobbler comfortable when aggressive cuts and yelps would make him head the other way. Likewise, you should listen for the same thing in return. Expand your expectations to include not just gobbles, but any turkey sounds that could give you a clue as to where he is and what he's doing. Every trip to the turkey woods is different. Every one is a learning experience, and most will be taught in the school of hard knocks. But patience and the preparations that go along with it will serve you well. In the spring woods, when the gobblers go silent and time stands still, patience is more than a virtue. It's a mind game. Knowing the land you hunt and the birds it holds can really pay off when the gobblers have been pressured or are rigged for silent running. Sometimes the best approach is a silent one. No owl hoots, no cuts, no yelps, no airs. If you can set up in an area the birds are known to use before you announce your presence to them, the rewards for your stealthy efforts can be great.
Careful, babe. I heard it shaking, okay? Shaking her cow calling. I think that's more than one long beard. Make sure you see that long beard before you shoot, all right? Okay.
But he's following it up. Yeah. Yeah, he's coming. Yeah. He's coming.
Whenever you're ready, when you get the shot, you take it.
He's behind the bush.
When he steps out of that bush, take your time and take the shot. All right. Oh man, look at you, babe. Look at that rope on him.
That's a good 10 and a half inches, real wide, real thick, good spurs on him, a little over an inch, starting to point out. I'm going to call him a good 3-year-old bird. Look at the colors. Look where that sun's hitting him right there. That's gorgeous. I am so proud of you. What do you think about this state, huh? Kansas is wonderful, ain't it?
I like it.
I tell you what. You know what? Patricia's got another tag. You got another tag. I got another tag. Let's go back to the truck. See if we can find Joe and Patricia. And what time did I tell you, huh? What time did I tell you?
8.
What time is it? What time is it?
8:30.
Well, I'm close. Let's go find Joe and Patricia and see if we can get on another one.
These turkeys for the last couple weeks been sitting in the tree quite a while. They want to see him before they fly down, so I think the only thing we can do is just be real patient and maybe call to him one time or so and just hush and just not. I think if we call to him a little too much, he's just gonna hang up in the tree and sit there, and we're just gonna have to sit patient on this one. He's about 100 yards. He ain't far. There he is, just flew down. Flew down on that ridge. I think he's gonna circle around our left. This bird's not saying much, we just gonna have to be patient. He's gonna come down that ridge. Go ahead and get my gun. I'll rake in the leaves a little bit. He's ready to the left, coming down the ridge. I'm on him. Man, that turkey was way overdue. These things had to hush mouth for 2 weeks. All right. Man, I'm glad he didn't get much closer. I tell you what, that's a pretty tight pattern on that Remington. He'd have got much closer, I might have missed that turkey. Whew, that made for a bad day. That's a good rope on that turkey, about 10 inches. Pretty good beard. About 3/4, 7/8 inch spurs. This one gets me. Look here, this turkey hadn't been doing a lot of strutting at all. There's been a couple of good gobblers in here, and this one just hadn't been doing the strutting. He didn't really gobble a whole lot on the limb this morning. We thought he may have a few hens with him, but he just not the dominant bird. He's been doing a little bit of strutting anyway. But we'll take him. I tell you, they've been hush mouthing here for 2 weeks, and finally just starting to get cranked off a little bit.
There are some turkey hunters who seem to have it all. A great place to hunt, or better yet, several great places to hunt. Great calling ability, plenty of time off to hunt, and great equipment. These guys seem to always get their share of gobblers each spring. But let's face it, if you had all the above-mentioned factors, you'd be taking your share of gobblers as well. Maybe you already do get your limit each season, with or without all the above-mentioned luxuries. There's still one tool that some hunters have that is worth more than anything else you may have in your hunting arsenal. Attitude. Not the kind of attitude that's associated with being cocky or arrogant. It's a state of mind that some people possess that separates them from the rest of the pack. A positive attitude that makes them believe in their heart that there's a turkey somewhere that will respond and they're going to locate him. Each day, each hunt is the same, no matter the weather, the location, the time of day, or geography. These hunters see things just a bit differently. You may see a huge hill to climb after hunting all morning and decide to hunt back down the mountain. They see a good point to reach so they can call down into the next valley. You may see a snake-infested slough that's too deep to cross with no sure thing on the other side. They see a possible quiet zone where a strutting gobbler may spend his whole day. You may rise at 4 a.m. and hear the wind howling and decide to sleep in. They see a chance to have the woods to themselves for the whole day. You may arrive at camp at 5 in the evening and decide it's just enough time to store your gear and start supper. They arrive at 5 in the evening, jump out of the truck in full mossy oak, and hike to an open field or high point to hopefully hear something fly up. You get the picture. These hunters with attitude are for the most part legal and ethical hunters. They do not bag over the limit. They do not hunt over bait. They do not poach or abuse any privilege they may have earned from landowners. Many times, the turkeys and locations they search out will be shared with other hunters, especially good friends and new hunters. These people have simply reached another level and are addicted to the game. The addiction is no less great than nicotine or alcohol. It is not something they do for recognition or praise. It's just part of their existence. A turkey hunter with the right attitude can accomplish anything in, or many times, outside of the turkey woods. Success, whatever that is to you, is often determined by nothing more than an attitude.
They're going down out there. We need to drop off in here and circle all the way around. Out in that field. There they are. There they are. Two hands. Two hands. Right up in our face. I don't see him with her. Right in our lap. Let those hens walk off, ease over the top of those ridge, and when they go over the top of the ridge, we'll be able to crawl out into that field. That longbeard's got to be just right on the other side of that ridge. They're almost over the top. As soon as they top that ridge right there, I can start my crawl. Alright, I'm gonna try it.
When wind and weather have the birds confined to fields, a hunter has to be ready to go with the flow. With the terrain, the motion of the wind, and camouflage acting in your favor, a careful low crawl can be made to pay off.
Oh man, there he is, there he is, there he is. Over this bank, I gotta get closer. There's two longbeards. All right. It's coming right to us in this open field. I gotta get his head up. Nice bird. Big old hooks. Nice beard. Golly, that bird's got to weigh 25, 26 pounds. Man, right out here in the wide open. That is unbelievable. Man, pretty bird. Nice beard, big, heavy Kansas bird. You know, we started out and we were easing up this bottom, and we saw a long beard in the field, and we really weren't sure if he saw us first or we saw him. Eased on out here, so we just circled all the way around, came up on the edge of the field, started yelping, and immediately 2 hens came in, and we figured that, you know, if we could keep those hens around, the longbeards would come with them. But it didn't happen that way, so the longbeards stayed out in this field, and we let the hens just walk over the top of this ridge. When they disappeared over the top, that's when I was able to make my move. You know, everybody likes to have turkeys call and have turkeys strut and gobble coming in and really put on a show. But we're out here in Kansas. It's 75 degrees. It's windy as it can be, and we're hunting in the afternoon. The turkeys just aren't carrying on, and we've been doing a lot of walking, a lot of moving, and haven't been able to raise a gobble. So you've got to take what they'll give you. It's, you know, it's great to be able to call well, but there's a lot of other aspects that go into turkey hunting. And to be able to get out here, put a real good, strong move on a turkey like that and go undetected takes a lot of skill and technique, and it's really just old-style turkey hunting.
Knowing when to move on a gobbler is probably the toughest thing for beginning turkey hunters to figure out. No turkey hunter, no matter how famous, well-known, or experienced, makes this decision correctly every time. Experience and confidence will help you decide when to move on a gobbler. There are a few situations that dictate moving fairly fast. For instance, you were set up on a gobbling turkey at dawn. You hear hens yelping and flying down nearby. The turkey continues to gobble after he has flown down, but is moving away. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize the gobbler has hens and is paying no attention to your calling. Remember, the best caller in the world is just another hen in the woods. If you can keep the tom gobbling with a loud yelp or cackle, then try to get in front of the flock. You also might consider moving to another area and coming back to your original spot later in the morning. Another situation that might require moving is in the case of a gobbler that keeps gobbling in the same place. If a tom is gobbling to your calling but not coming in, a number of things could be holding or hanging him up. It may be a barrier like a creek or a fence. If you are familiar with this area and realize he is hung up due to an obstacle, shut up calling, wait a while, and then move forward to see if there is indeed some obstacle hanging him up. If so, move past the barrier and set up and begin calling again. If you get a response from your second location, this is indeed a time to sit tight and be patient. For the most part, sitting tight is just plain good advice when dealing with turkeys. In most cases, patience will bring more turkeys into gun range than great calling.
I don't want to get too far in here. There's turkeys in here also. We ought to try them before we back over this hill. Why don't you try your yelping? Yeah, there you go. Right there. He's just over that. Just over the hill right there. Stay back and call. I want to get up a little bit. Just drag me. Turkey's got him. There's 2 trees right there. Right there. He's coming. He's coming around to the left. To the left. I can't shoot him by you. It's too brushy up there. That's way too thick. He's going up to that field. Stand right in that brush. Yeah, it's too thick. Stop calling for a little bit. We'll get around on him. Okay. Let him go. Just let him walk off. Let him walk off. Go around and get around him. Do you believe that? Stay in that brush is one of them. Oh, he comes that pretty? No, I couldn't. At one point, I might have been able to. I didn't want to take a chance.
I mean, he came. Well,
He came hard.
He's still gobbling. Why don't we head down this way where he can't see us and get around?
Perfect. He's heading for that field. I bet he's just trying to. Why don't you try? Try. There he was. He's down that way.
Did y'all hear him?
He's down in that hollow.
He went all the way down in the hole.
Let's see if we can't pull him up.
He didn't get. I want to make sure he didn't get. He's down low in there.
Let's get in that thick stuff because he's not the.
He goes out here.
All right. I'm going to set up along his edge so I can shoot into that timber in case he doesn't. If he remains true to time, he can slide right up through this thick stuff.
Even if you have 2 world champions calling behind you, you'll still never be immune to the wiles of an experienced gobbler. When the birds have been around long enough to be long in the spur, less is definitely more where calling is concerned. A well-timed flanking maneuver can succeed where continued calling would have certainly failed.
I can come out into this field. We'll try it.
Look at that big old tree there, he said.
Trying to skirt up through this thick stuff just like he did a while ago.
That'll be right in front of Terry. He's coming right in front of Terry.
There he is. He's behind that cedar. right behind that cedar. He's coming. I can't get a shot at him there. He's right under that cedar. It's a little too thick right there. He's coming out. He's coming out. You on him? You on him? Oh, thank goodness.
He ain't going.
Yeah, you got it. Good shot, Jay.
Good shot.
Woo!
Good job.
Well, you talk about cover, and we were sitting in the thickest cover as we could ever ask
I guarantee you,
for.
no.
Come nice, though, didn't he? Yes, he came pretty. Good job calling, guys. Good job. Hang on to that, Don, and I'll go get him.
Dude, it's a nice turkey.
All right. Y'all did change up on you. I can tell that.
This was something different, you know.
Changed and then,
What were you using?
I went to Super Illuminator.
I couldn't tell if it was titanium or mouth call. I wasn't using a poison call, poison too. Shit, he went through. What'd you put in that time, man?
I put that old shipwreck in there.
Well, you know, he come so pretty the first time this morning. By God, I wasn't going to let him do it again. He did it to us earlier this morning. We got in that brush.
Yeah.
Good job. You guys did a great
It was
job.
only 20 yards from you.
Oh, he was 15 steps here. It was woolly right there, but I had a real good clear shot at his head, so I took it. He rung his head up there for me. So
You think he ever got to where he could see these decoys? He kind of at the last there, he kind of held his head up and then started coming, and then you got the shot. So
I think he did.
maybe he saw him. I don't know. I know it turned out to be a great hunt. We've been on him now for over an hour.
Yeah. Had to make a big move and come around.
That first time, Don, when he come off that other hill, crossed the creek, came up, I said, well, he's going to run right over him.
Uh-huh.
And how far out of his way did he spin around to come in,
And he come in by you and I over there and then on back up on top of the hill.
button hooked around Terry?
Uh-huh.
Oh, Terry trying to
Yeah.
get a shot. We just shut up. And that's a good point. When you get a turkey that doesn't quite come where you want, just shut up. Let him go past. Let some time, go by. Then
Yeah.
we'll try him again. And we switched calls and struck him right up again.
Seen where he was going and then went around and got where we needed to be.
But how about him sticking to the brush like he's done all morning?
I can't believe that.
Well, he had skirted by me once there in that brush. He was, he got around, and you guys did a tremendous job calling. But when he got around on us that first time, I think that it was probably a mistake that a lot of guys make. They would keep calling and hammering. You didn't do that. You just stopped. You knew that I wasn't going to get a shot at him. He was skirting up through that little bit of buckbrush there. And instead of crowding him, you guys had just cut it off, and we all got together and said, let's try and get around on him.
I can't believe how that turkey acted. The first setup, he had 2 or 3 lanes he could have come up that would have been open, and he stuck with a brush. There was one little brushy strip in there, and he stuck right with it. And then when we get over here, we think, well, maybe he'd come up the edge of this field because it would have been perfect, And he stays with the brush again, comes right up, and comes in like he's supposed to, just like he did the first time, but he stayed in the brush. I just couldn't believe it.
I should have known when we set up there he wasn't going to come out in this wide open field the way he skirted us first time. He was going to do the exact same thing. So we were close enough to the edge there.
When I saw him coming through, I could see his beard. Where's his beard at? Oh, he got a nice beard.
Yeah, good beard. Probably 10-inch beard, 9.5.
Good turkey.
Hey, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's always fun.
It's my job easy, I'll tell you.
It's always fun to get to do it together, guys.
Let's go get on another.
I'll carry the gun for you. You bet.
It's up in my top of my vest.
There you go.
What a hunt. That was nice. It's neat to get around on him like that. It's one thing to let him walk by, but that's another thing to set up tight on him. And
that's right. Midday, strike him back up like that and get on him. You just don't do that every day.
Walk again. I didn't want you guys to ask.
20 years ago, hunting pressure was much lighter during the spring season. On the other hand, turkeys were not as plentiful, so an easy hunt was still something to relish. Today, there are more wild turkeys than ever before thanks to concerned sportsmen and organizations like the NWTF. But on public ground, easy hunts are still a rare gift. By far, most turkey hunters do the majority of their hunting close to home. Turkey woods close to home are both a blessing and a curse. The fact that you can go out and hunt for an hour or so before work makes your season better with more chances to bag a gobbler. It also offers the same plus to other hunters in your area. If you have turkey woods close to a populated area, you better be ready to share those spots with other hunters. Hunts on less pressured gobblers will be much easier once you've had to match wits with not only a smart old gobbler, but a few dozen hunters at the same time. The hunter that cruises public grounds during spring gobbler season must have a big bag of tricks and be willing to put in the extra effort needed to bag high-pressure birds. Tactics on public ground will vary depending on how much pressure the turkeys get, especially before the season opens. Less calling, less moving, and more patience is usually just what the doctor ordered in these extreme high-pressure areas. Another method that can produce in these areas is hunting later in the day. If your state laws allow hunting until noon, then hunt until noon. If all day is legal, then try mid to late afternoon, when most other hunters have long since given up. It only takes one call at the right time and the right place to locate a receptive gobbler that's calmed down and looking for hens. If you can afford to hunt all day during the week, public lands can be just as productive as any private ground. Most people cannot adjust their work schedule to do this, so consider saving some vacation time for the spring season. You may find yourself all alone in the woods, except for some receptive gobblers. When turkeys are staying out of sight among the briars and the tangles of the deep woods, an old abandoned logging road can be the most valuable call in a turkey hunter's vest. An avenue to move, see, and shoot in the middle of a jungle that would otherwise prevent any of the above can put a determined hunter in contact with the object of his desire.
Some turkeys cross our property line, but he's not far across there. Same turkey we heard at daybreak. He was way back in here. He's over here on this pine ridge, but he's down now. He's answering good, but he's coming around to the right. I think he's going to hit this road and come down the road to us. Listen to what. Another turkey on the right that's really fired it way back in here. We must have heard 4 or 5 already. I think he's closer. Cuz there he is. There he is. He's coming up the road. He's right there. He's on the right. at that. That's about a 4-year-old bird. He was smart too when he came in. He came around, he came down the road. But the neat thing that's happening, there's another one that's really gobbling. He's hot, he's coming this way. And he's coming to the same cause this bird was coming to. So what we need to do, we get this one and get out of here and save that other one for another day.
Memories of springs past and promises of more are what draw turkey hunters out of bed and into the dark during the still wee hours of spring mornings. The first cup of coffee, the drive and hike in the dark, the first sounds of nature on a new day in a new year, all add to the drama. Memories of great duels of the past call to us, whether with evil boss gobblers who'd earned their own names, or with one of the nameless millions who simply proved once again why the wild turkey is the nation's most elusive game bird. Memories of duels past haunt us and drive us and call us back for more. Decisions, memories, logic, and lore all play their part in the greatest mind game of them all.
There's something very essential about using the bounty of God's great wilderness to feed our people. As basic as a respect for the land itself is a respect for the call of our fellow man in need. As hunters, it is our responsibility to be providers as well, to feed our families, then to share the excess with those less fortunate.
One day I was driving down Virginia Highway to the place that we hunt, and it was early in the morning and I was running a little late as usual when I looked alongside of Route 522 and saw a lady with the trunk up on her car. I was tempted just to shoot right on by, but I didn't. I pulled over to see if she was broken down or whatever, and she said, no, I'm not broken down, but I'd appreciate it if you'd follow me over here into these bushes. She pointed a little 6-point buck laying down there. Said, would you help me load that up in the trunk? She says, me and my kids is hungry. And I knew right then I had to do something about it. So I went to my wife and I said, there's no reason for people to be feeding their, especially single mothers, feeding their families off roadkills. I said, we've got to do something about that. Farmers and Hunters Feeding the Hungry is an outreach ministry of hunters and farmers donating their time and money to feed the hungry. Basically, they donate extra deer that they've taken to inspected, licensed meat processors, and we pay for the processing, we pay for all the processing, and then food banks and churches and Salvation Armies all over the country pick it up and feed it to the needy people in their communities. One of the most interesting and really astounding things about this whole journey is the way the non-hunters and even anti-hunters have gotten involved. Over a century ago, in the 1800s, hunters were. Farmers and hunters were the food providers. In fact, from the beginning of time, hunters and farmers provided the food for everyone, and they were well thought of. And then around the turn of the last century, hunting pretty much ceased for food, and in the last 50 years, hunting has become kind of a dirty word in some circles, you know, especially with the liberal media. As a result of that, a lot of people, especially in the urban areas of our country, are, you know, keep quiet. Even a lot of celebrities keep quiet about the fact that they're a hunter, and you're all aware of that, I know. This really gives hunters a chance to return to their heritage as food providers, where we once were. And with that comes the support of all kinds of people. I got a call from a priest one day. He says, you're saving many, many lives. And from that day on, it took on a really different meaning. It's not just feeding hungry people, it's saving people's lives.
What y'all think about that?
Fantastic.
You can't complain about a hunt like that.